In a server room in Karachi, Pakistan, a junior network engineer presses enter. He doesn't know it yet, but he just took YouTube offline. For every single person on Earth, 100 million users, gone, in 11 seconds, and it cost him about $10 in electricity.
3 days earlier, the Pakistani government issued a directive: block YouTube. The reason was a short video, less than 2 minutes long, that had been circulating online. The government considered it blasphemous, and in Pakistan, that was enough. The order went out to every major ISP in the country: pull the plug, kill access, make the site unreachable for 170 million Pakistani citizens. Most ISPs did what you'd expect: a simple null route, a technical dead end. Traffic heading for YouTube would hit a wall and stop. Clean, local, invisible to the rest of the world. Pakistan Telecom, PTCL, had a different idea. Now, PTCL wasn't just any ISP. It was the national carrier, the backbone of Pakistan's internet infrastructure. And it had an upstream provider called PCCW, one of Asia's largest telecommunications companies, based in Hong Kong, with fiber cables stretching across oceans and continents. When PTCL decided how to block YouTube, they chose a technique called a more specific route announcement. Here's what that means. The internet doesn't work like a map with roads you can close. It works like a conversation between routers, tens of thousands of them all over the world, constantly telling each other, "I know how to get there. Send your traffic through me." This conversation runs on a protocol called BGP, Border Gateway Protocol. It's been running since 1989. It is, in a very real sense, the nervous system of the global internet. BGP works on trust. When a router announces a route, says, "I can reach this address block," every other router on the internet believes it. No verification, no authentication, no second opinion required. And PTCL was about to exploit that in the most catastrophic way possible.
YouTube's address block at the time was 208.65.153.0/22, a chunk of IP space assigned specifically to YouTube. PTCL's engineer created a more specific announcement. Instead of advertising that whole block, he'd advertise a smaller slice: 208.65.153.0/24. A /24 is more specific than a /22, and on the internet, more specific always wins. The logic was sound. Traffic to YouTube from inside Pakistan would hit PTCL's more specific route, get dropped, and that would be that. Problem solved. YouTube blocked. Pakistan protected. There was just one problem. He forgot to add a filter. The filter would have contained the announcement, kept it inside PTCL's own network, invisible to the outside world. Without it, the announcement would go straight to PCCW's routers, and from there, out to the global internet. At 1847, UTC PTCL pushed the announcement. PCCW received it. And then, because BGP works on trust, PCCW passed it along to everyone they knew. The announcement spread, router to router, continent to continent. In seconds, routers in London, Tokyo, Sao Paulo, New York were all receiving the same message. Pakistan Telecom knows how to reach YouTube. Send your traffic there. And they did. Think about what that means for a second. Not just Pakistani users trying to load YouTube. Every user, every country, 100 million people pressing play on videos at that exact moment. All of their data packets suddenly rerouting through a network in Karachi that had no idea what to do with them. PTCL had essentially announced, "I am YouTube." They weren't. They were a Pakistani ISP that had accidentally told every router on Earth to send all YouTube traffic directly to them. And when all that traffic arrived, it had nowhere to go. YouTube just stopped. If you were online that evening, and about 100 million people were, you saw the same thing. a loading circle, then a timeout error, then nothing. And if you worked at YouTube, you were having a very, very bad evening. YouTube's Network Operations Center lit up within minutes. The first assumption was a DDoS attack, a distributed denial of service, hackers flooding the servers with fake traffic until real users couldn't get through. It happened. It was the obvious explanation. But the traffic patterns didn't match. A DDoS looks like a wall of requests slamming into your servers. What YouTube was seeing was different. Traffic wasn't hitting their servers at all. It was like the traffic had been redirected somewhere else before it even arrived. Someone pulled up the BGP routing tables. And there it was, AS17557, Pakistan Telecom's autonomous system number, advertising YouTube's IP block, telling the entire internet, send YouTube here. This wasn't a hack. There was no malware, no exploit, no genius in a darkroom finding a zero-day vulnerability. It was a typo, a missing line of configuration, a mistake so small you could miss it on a screen, with consequences so large they were being felt from London to Los Angeles. YouTube's engineers immediately contacted PCCW. You have a bad route in your tables. You need to pull it now. But PCCW had to verify, had to trace it, had to push the withdrawal back through their systems. Meanwhile, the internet kept routing YouTube traffic to Pakistan. 47 minutes. That's how long YouTube was offline for the entire world. At 1934 UTC, PCCW withdrew the announcement. But it wasn't instant. The correction had to propagate, router to router, the same way the bad announcement had spread. Each router updated its tables. Each one stopped redirecting traffic to Karachi. It took another 18 minutes for YouTube to fully come back online. 65 minutes. Total, from the moment the engineer pressed enter. He never meant for any of it to happen. There's no evidence of malice. He was doing his job. Following orders to block a website, using a technique that was technically correct, in the sense that it would have worked, if he hadn't forgotten one line. His name was never made public. Pakistan Telecom issued a brief statement acknowledging the incident. PCCW acknowledged they had passed on a misconfigured route. YouTube said it was back. And within a week, the story had mostly faded. Because here's the thing the news coverage missed. This was never really about one engineer, or one ISP, or one government order to block a video. This was about something much bigger, something that had been broken for a very long time. BGP was designed in 1989. Two engineers, Kirk Lougheed and Yakov Rector, sketched the original protocol on napkins during a lunch meeting. It was meant to be temporary, a quick solution to a routing problem that the early internet was running into. That was 35 years ago. BGP is still running, on every major router, on every internet exchange point, moving more than 5 billion users' data across the planet every single second, and it still has no authentication. When a router announces a route, the internet still believes it, automatically, unconditionally, because that's how BGP was built. It assumes every participant is acting in good faith. After the Pakistan Telecom incident, the internet security community did what it usually does. It wrote papers, held conferences, proposed solutions, and an organization called ARIN, the American Registry for Internet Numbers, began rolling out something called RPKI, Resource Public Key Infrastructure, a way to cryptographically verify route announcements, to actually prove that the entity claiming to own an address block actually owns it. It would fix BGP. But here's the problem. As of today, RPKI only covers less than half of global internet routing. The rest? Still running on the same honor system Lougheed and Rector sketched on a napkin in 1989. and people noticed. 2 years after the Pakistan incident, in April 2010, China Telecom advertised 40,000 routes it had no business advertising. For 18 minutes, traffic from dozens of countries, including traffic from U.S. military sites and government agencies, passed through Chinese infrastructure. The U.S. Senate called it a potential act of cyber espionage. China Telecom said it was a mistake. In 2018, someone hijacked routes belonging to Amazon's DNS service, Route 53, and redirected cryptocurrency users to a fake website that drained their wallets. Over $150,000 stolen in 2 hours. Every single one of these attacks used the same technique the Pakistan Telecom engineer used by accident. A more specific route announcement. It takes minutes to execute. It requires no special skills. It requires no access to the target systems. You just need an autonomous system number, an upstream provider that doesn't filter properly, and a willingness to lie to every router on Earth. The engineer in Karachi did it for free, by mistake, to comply with a government order. Everyone who came after him did it on purpose. By the way, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, this is the part of the video where I tell you to. We cover stories like this every week, real events, real consequences, the systems that run your world and how fragile they actually are. Buttons right there. Back to it. After the 2008 incident, a researcher named Anton Capella stood up at a hacker conference called DEF CON and demonstrated something that made the room go quiet. He showed live in front of an audience that he could intercept internet traffic between any 2 points on Earth without the sender or receiver knowing, not by hacking into their computers, not by tapping their cables, just by sending a BGP announcement. The traffic would leave its source, get silently rerouted through his machine. He'd read it, copy it, then send it on to the original destination. Perfect, invisible interception, on demand, anywhere in the world. The technique worked because BGP had no authentication, and because the people responsible for deploying RPKI were moving slowly. Too much infrastructure to update, too many legacy systems, too many network operators who'd have to coordinate simultaneously. And there was money involved, RPKI, compliance costs, time, and resources. Some providers had deployed it, many hadn't. The ones who hadn't were the ones still accepting unverified route announcements from anyone who sent them. The attack surface wasn't a bug someone could patch. It was the architecture itself. It was trust, built into the foundation. The engineer in Karachi was never identified. Pakistan Telecom paid no fines, faced no prosecution, issued no apology to the 100 million users who lost access to YouTube that evening. The total cost of the outage, in electricity, in server traffic, in whatever resources PTCL consumed handling a flood of traffic it never asked for, was estimated at roughly $10. That's what it costs to break the internet. 65 minutes, 100 million users, one forgotten filter, $10. And the reason it happened, the reason it could happen, the reason it keeps happening, isn't a bug that someone will eventually fix. It's the original design, a global communication system running on trust, with no way to verify that the trust is deserved. BGP was built for a small network of researchers who all knew each other, who all assumed everyone else was acting in good faith. The internet outgrew that assumption decades ago. The protocol never did.